Hello, it's me, Clayton, and I just got back from seeing Alien Covenant, which is a sequel to the 2012 movie Prometheus, and it stars Michael Fassbender as Walter. Yes, he's back again as an android, very much like how he was David from Prometheus, and trust me, there is a reason, but that would go into spoilers, so let's just get to the story. The story here is that 10 years after the events of Prometheus, a colony ship called the Covenant is headed towards a planet in order to colonize it with around 2,000 humans on board. However, when the crew is awakened from hypersleep early, they realize that there's another planet that's closer that might be a better habitat for the colonization mission. So they decide to investigate once they receive a transmission from someone on that planet, and as expected, things go wrong as very shortly as they enter the planet, and they quickly have to realize they have to find a way out before they end up being unable to complete the colonization mission. That being before they all die. That's all I'll say about the story without getting into spoilers. Now, when it comes to the Alien franchise, it is a classic series, and I do like the first two Alien movies. Not so much with Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, and as for Prometheus, I just felt it was okay. For Alien Covenant, it's, in my opinion, a step up from Prometheus, but it's still just sort of decent. One thing that I will say that's good about the film right off the bat is Michael Fassbender, as even though his character Walter is meant to be an emotionless android, Michael Fassbender totally commits to the role, and he manages to be pretty enjoyable for his performance. Whether it's his robotic voice or his sometimes sarcastic remarks or sometimes his philosophical discussions, he always gives a certain flair to his performance. Also, the other crew members were very good overall. I especially liked Demian Bichir as Sergeant Lope. He's just the security guard, and even Danny McBride does a good job with his role too. And the main woman in the film, even though I don't remember her name, she does a good job as well. The whole cast, when it comes to their performances, are great. And even though it does take a while, the action scenes throughout the film are very good. They're full of tension, they're bloody, they're full of creepy and intense moments. It feels just the way an Alien film should. Unfortunately, it does take a little while for the action to get going. The first 20 to 30 minutes of the film I felt were pretty slow-paced and kind of boring. It's mainly building up the characters and getting them set on their journey, but in my opinion, there's not enough action going on, and the dialogue isn't good enough to keep me interested for the first 20 to 30 minutes. However, as soon as the characters end up on the planet that you've probably seen from the trailers, the pace does start to pick up, and the movie does manage to get a lot better. And now, for those of you who are wondering if there are any questions from Prometheus that are answered in this film, there are a few. And not all of them, but a few. I won't go into spoilers, but if you were confused like I was about certain things in Prometheus and you wanted some answers in this film, you'll get some of them, but you have to be paying attention in order to understand. The only other flaw that I have with this film is the fact that the film sometimes goes into the characters having philosophical discussions in order for the film to sound smart, in the same way that Ghost in the Shell, the original Ghost in the Shell, did. Unfortunately, some of the philosophical discussions feel like they're a bit out of place in this movie, and they feel more like a philosophy college course than natural dialogue for a science fiction movie, even when the person who speaks the most philosophically is the android. But that's just my opinion. But my positive points still stand. It has a lot of action near the middle and the end of the film. The horror elements are clearly there. There are a few moments that legitimately scared me, and it didn't rely just on jump scares. There's actual tension throughout the film. And the film does have some great atmosphere, mainly due to its excellent visual effects and the slow pace at the beginning. It's, out of all the Alien films, I'd guess it's the third best out of all of them. But if that sounds like a recommendation, that's going to be up to you. It's a completely serviceable Alien film that, in my opinion, could have been a little bit more, but it's decent for what it is. I liked it, but it's not my favorite. I'm going to give Alien Covenant a 7.5 out of 10. See you next time.